Let's get some additional perspective on these legal fights. Jonathan Turley is a professor at George Washington University Law School and a Fox News contributor. Jonathan, good evening. Let me start with the Pennsylvania decision by Justice Alito. He turns it over to the full Supreme Court. No noted dissents, and they do not move forward. There's no injunctive relief there. Is that a big blow for the president's chances?
It is a big blow. You know, we've talked in the past about how the president was running out of runway, and at this point, to really make a difference, he'd have to land a jumbo jet on a postage stamp. I mean, he does not have a lot of runway left. This was considered his strongest case for the Supreme Court. And the court system has proven that it is independent in reviewing these claims. Many of these are Trump appointees who are voting against the position of the president, not because they have animus, but because they don't see the legal case. You can't wait for calmer times. The time for you is now. And I would say that what Trumbull said has even more bearing today, because I believe that this is much like the Johnson impeachment. It's manufactured until you build a record. I'm not saying you can't build a record, but you can't do it like this. And you can't impeach a president like this.
I've seen some clips. They call it bogus claims on behalf of Texas. They say this is a chance of this happening could be 1 in a quadrillion. What do you think the U.S. Supreme Court does now that this has been responded to?
Well, it's highly unlikely to be successful. The problem is that Texas is carrying more baggage on this one than Amtrak. I mean, you've got a lot of problems that the court is going to be concerned about. First, many of the courts previously have rejected these challenges under what's called latches, or the timing. They've said, why are you raising this now? Why didn't you come to court before the election? We're just before the Electoral College votes. You want us to negate the certification of a past election. We don't understand why you waited. Second, the Supreme Court defers to state courts and state Supreme Courts on their own laws, and they have rejected these claims, and they don't look kindly on one state trying to effectively enforce the laws of another state.
It's over. Professor Jonathan Turley on that, and so let's bring in George Washington University law professor Jonathan Turley on that, and also on the breaking news tonight on the investigation into Hunter Biden. Jonathan, good evening. Great to see you as always. So,
good evening.
You know, what's your take on this? As I said, you know, you can watch anywhere on cable news. They're going to say it's ridiculous, it's over, it's too late. I know you feel that the runway is very short.
This is unlikely to succeed because of the relief that is being sought. This is sometimes called a Hail Mary filing. It doesn't quite capture it. This is not Aaron Rodgers throwing a touchdown from midfield in Lambeau. This is Aaron Rodgers throwing a touchdown from midfield in Dallas for a score in Wisconsin. I mean, this is a feat that would be very difficult to achieve. It hasn't been achieved in the past. And part of the problem is this sticker shock, that they're asking for relief that would effectively negate the certification of millions of votes. And that has not succeeded. And you were right to note about the Pennsylvania case. There was not a single dissenting vote. In order to accept a case like this, you're going to need 5 justices. So you could lose Chief Justice Roberts, but you got to bring along all 5 of the other conservative justices. Not one of them filed a dissent when the Pennsylvania case was dismissed.
You say he's running out of runway, and just look at the Electoral College timeline here. Today was the deadline to resolve disputes, actually. December 14th, the electors vote in the states. December 23rd, the states certify, deliver the votes. January 6th, the House and Senate joint session, count the votes, declare officially the winner. There is this other case that John mentioned out of the Texas Attorney General filing to the Supreme Court directly. Court watchers are looking at how this particular Pennsylvania case was dealt with 40 minutes after the filings came in. Does that suggest that they're just not in the mood to take care of anything else like this?
I'm afraid that Texas case falls in that category of that dog won't hunt. I mean, I don't see how that's going to be successful, particularly after this loss. And yes, the timing was notable. The ink was hardly dry on the filing when the court came back and basically ended this issue. So I think that it does not look very promising. The last few days, we've also noticed the Trump campaign and President Trump himself are talking more about going to the legislatures. You'll notice on his list of people that could change this, the first justice was number 3. He talked about a legislator or legislatures, and that's a straight muscle play. That's an effort to try to get legislatures to say, we don't want the certification of these votes to go for Biden. That is also not likely to succeed, but it does show a shift away from the court.